Good morning, everybody.
And welcome to another video.
It's early November and it's very...
Hold on. Just quickly. So many people, we always say to subscribe at the end of the video, but so many of you are watching and not subscribing, so subscribe now.
Down here, there's a little symbol. If you actually click on that symbol, it takes you to the thing which you can subscribe.
Yes. Please. Right. Okay, carry on.
So we're on the West Wickham... No, we're not. We're on the Wickham Railway, part of the Wickham Railway that is no longer in existence, and we're on the West End, quite close to Oxford, and we're in search today of the Horspath Tunnel, because the Horspath Tunnel tells quite an interesting story. So this part of the line was built in 1864, and within 6 years it had been transferred into standard gauge from broad gauge, and they did that on this section of the line within 1 week. That's pretty quick. So we're on the search for the Horspath Tunnel. As we said, it has a very interesting story. The tunnel itself is 520 yards long and is an S shape. So essentially, from the middle point, you can't see either portal. So you find us at the western portal of the Horspath Tunnel, and it doesn't take too long to realise that we're in the middle of a wildlife conservation area. And a couple of quick things about this tunnel. Number one, we can't get inside. We know we can't get inside, but that is a good thing, as well as being a bad thing. So we're walking up to the western portal of the tunnel now, the once imposing and impressive tunnel, which is now covered in a lot of vegetation, but that kind of makes sense because it's a wildlife conservation area, so this is all good. So why is it a good thing that we can't get inside? So back in 2002-2003, there was a massive project here by a number of different organisations to create not only a safe habitat for bats, but also one that would be so significant it would house some of the rarest species of bats in the country. There was a £25,000 grant from the Global Biodiversity Fund, generous donations from the parish council and some of the village residents, plus contributions from Oxfordshire County Council. So the project itself featured a number of different things which would give the best chance for the sustainability of the bats. So, not least, for a starting point, the grate you see up in the tunnel there, that regulates the airflow and gives the perfect conditions for the bat's survival. So, a little bit closer, there's a few other unique features. So not only did they build this for the bat species themselves, they had brick inlets at 1 metre, 1.5 metre, 3 metres, but they also had box sections along it as well for different types of hibernation. But they also built the site perfectly for the conservationists themselves. An access point up there with a steel cage built inside it so they could get up on a ladder. The point down here has got a concrete floor in order for them to get to that access point quite easily. In the bottom section of the brick wall there, you've got 3 3-inch outlet pipes. So number one, that regulates the water within the tunnel, it keeps it moving, but it also takes away any gases that are heavier than air. And of course, what it then did is create some small lakes or ponds outside of the tunnel, giving rise to a perfect wildlife conservation area. So, this level of bat monitoring was unique for the UK back in 2000-2003. So why is it a bad thing that we can't get in the tunnel? We normally like to get in tunnels, right, Rebecca?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like a nice tunnel.
It's bad because up until a few years ago, everything I've just mentioned stopped. So from a couple of years ago, it was deemed that the tunnel could potentially be unsafe. And that's not to say a survey's been done and it is unsafe. That's to say that no survey has been done. In fact, the Oxford Mail ran a piece suggesting that it could collapse, which is a little bit of poetic license, because what they really meant was any tunnel in the UK could collapse. And unfortunately, it was deemed that funds were no longer available for this project, and therefore no survey could be done. Some local residents and a small campaign group run by Stuart Mabbutt a couple of years back ran a Kickstarter project to try and raise £4,000. That would see the project get back underway again and pay for a risk assessment and health and safety assessment on the tunnel and the structure inside it. Unfortunately, only £3,000 was raised, and therefore, because it's Kickstarter, you don't get any of that money. So we went looking for the eastern portal, but we now believe it to be filled in. So, the big question, is this tunnel really that unsafe?
Well, there's no real way of knowing, unless the survey's done to tell you one way or the other.
So some way they need to raise the funds, like they tried to do back in 2018, to get a health and safety survey done. We spoke with Stuart Mabbutt, who's leading some of this project. And Stuart suggested there was an old BR report, or rumour to be an old BR report in place, that said that the tunnel had a bulge. Now, whether this was an excuse or some kind of, who knows, but that report hasn't been found, and all of the guys and girls that have been inside of the tunnel to do the BAT surveys when it was being run have said there is no such thing. Of course, there was an illegal rave held here in Boxing Day 1999. Do you reckon they saw any bulges?
Well, they probably saw a lot, because everything was probably a little bit wavy.
So either way, it would be an amazing thing to get this project back started and reignite it once again, because it was such an importance for the species diversity. And if you want to know why species diversity is important, Google it, because it actually genuinely is, especially in the day and age that we live in today. So that's the story of Horspath Tunnel. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not pronouncing that right.
It sounds right.
Horspath.
But when you look at it, that's what it
Yeah.
sounds.
So this has been Horspath Tunnel from the Wickham Railway, the west end of Wickham Railway, in the village of Horspath. Hopefully you've enjoyed the little story, and we shall see you next time. Don't forget to
Subscribe.
subscribe, comment below, and all that jazz. Thanks for watching.